And I know, speaking from a career that I once had where the way I looked was a product, right? Mm-hmm. And so I would either be accepted or rejected often just based on what I looked like. Like, they didn't even know me. They knew nothing about my life. I would walk in and it was either you fit the look, you don't fit the look, you need to do this or do this or do this. And if I wasn't cautious and not letting that shift my authentic self, but vulnerable enough to go in and say, I'm presenting myself as I am, it either aligns for you or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm not changing who I am because it will work for someone else. Mm-hmm. And so there is a strength that comes from that. When I first started in that career, I did not have that strength. I would come home after every rejection and I would cry and I would be heartbroken and I would feel like it was a personal slight on a professional response. And so that's how I feel like sometimes we do allow our vulnerability to start to impact our authenticity so it can go backwards. And we can start to go, oh, let me then instead turn into what they want me to be so that I can fit into this career or I can fit into this role, because I don't want to hurt the way I hurt when somebody rejects me like that.
It almost sounds like, well, first, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that story. That's important because I'm sure a lot of people can connect with that in many, many ways. I mean, that's very common, sadly, these days. I mean, when it comes to professional or even dating apps, I mean, it's all centered around what you look, not who you are. And, it's all swiping. And so I can almost guarantee anyone listening to this right now has had some version of that. So I appreciate you bringing that forward, finding a connecting point that we can all understand. But I feel like what I heard from what you were saying, which is something I actually hadn't really viewed it from this perspective, and maybe we can love to get your perspective on this. We talk about how things like authenticity and vulnerability can be tools or weapons.
Yes.
And I hadn't thought about that, and where vulnerability could be almost, in a way, could be used as a weapon because it's accessing our insecurities.
Yes.
And so how does someone differentiate insecurities and vulnerability to recognize that, no, this is not a weapon that hurts oneself, but how do we turn vulnerability into a tool that can create strength within oneself?
Yeah, and it's a really great opportunity to highlight our insecurities. So if we look at it that way, and that's how I had to go about it. So each time I would get a no, you're underweight for the role. Mm-hmm. No, you're overweight. No, you're too tall. No, you're too short. No, you're not pretty enough. Like, it was always about my appearance. And so growing up, very insecure about my appearance, which I know a lot of people kind of navigate through that layer of insecurity. It might not be your whole appearance. It may be one aspect or two aspects of your appearance. But if you're going to put yourself into a position where you are the product, you better be ready for that nerve to get struck over and over again. And in the beginning, I definitely wasn't. But what it created for me was an opportunity to stand back and be in witness of my insecurities. And it could either take me down, or I could use it to say, okay, so then how am I going to embrace that part of myself? How am I either going to, if I don't like it, shift it so that I can do something about it, or just realize that that's a beautiful, unique part of me that makes me who I am. And that role that I was going for may not have desired that, but there will be one that'll be a perfect fit for. And so I just need to find where my part of the puzzle clicks in. And I think that that's a tool that we can all use, where instead of thinking that we need to fix something about ourselves, because it's not broken, maybe it could be adjusted to help us feel more comfortable, or maybe it doesn't need adjusted. Maybe it doesn't need anything. We just need to learn to find the beauty that's in it. You know, there's always room for growth and expansion. But to change something, to feel like, oh, that's just broken and we need to change that, then that's taking away part of our authenticity. Because that brought us to the place where we could even observe that there was something to shift in the first place.
Yeah.
And so we need to honor the beauty and what got us there first, and then choose to shift it instead of feel like it's broken and needs fixed. So that's where I think being vulnerable can help greatly.